Hi guys, my name is Nonema Dikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about Brigadier Gininda's testimony using South African case law, because according to South African case law, Gininda's evidence or testimony is South African case law assault and gag. That's what it boils down to. Before we do that, guys, please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please make sure you are subscribed on the channel. Please make sure you are watching the videos up until the end and you are watching the ads that are coming through. When you are doing that, you are supporting this channel financially and in numbers. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Now, let's get to why do I say his testimony in South African case law is a South African case law assault. Number one, the golden rule, police evidence is inherently dangerous on its own. Once police are involved and see things, well, that alone is very much, Now, heightened scrutiny is required. State versus Mthethwa 1972, bracket 3, bracket SA 766, bracket A, bracket. Police witnesses are not automatically credible. Courts must assess demeanor, consistency, and independence. And let's talk about Gininda's application. Gininda was a lead investigator, information gatekeeper, narrative controller, witness sequencer. He was a witness sequencer because he's the one that was bringing witnesses. He was not independent. He was structurally invested. And what is a legal blow when it comes to that? Sorry, a court accepts his version without corroboration. A court that accepts his version without corroboration violates the above Mthethwa authority, the 1972 Mthethwa authority. The second point is that the investigator as a storyteller problem. He was a storyteller, most right? Reconstruction is not evidence. State versus Trainer 2003, bracket 1, bracket SACR 35 SCA. Evidence must be logically and objectively proven, not pieced together to fit a theory. Let's talk about Gininda's conduct. Constructed a theory first, sourced witnesses after, interpreted facts to fit arrests that he did. This is retrospective narrative building, not investigation. And also, it has a legal blow. Trainer prohibits confirmation bias, squandering as proof. It's prohibited. And when it comes to this, any judge that is fair is going to deal with him accordingly when giving the judgment or the verdict. Number 3, contamination of witnesses. Let's talk about the structural infection. State versus Nduna 2012, bracket 2, bracket SACR 325 KZP. Okay. Witnesses exposed to one another's versions lose evidential independence. Let's look at Gininda's admissions. Multiple witnesses interviewed by same officers. Versions clarified. Statements taken after media exposure. Witnesses knew what police believed. This is evidential cross-pollination. And the legal blow when it comes to that, once contamination is proven, credibility collapses collectively. Point number 4, selective memory and investigative omissions. What he forgot is legally fatal. State versus Chabalala 2003. That's SCA, okay? Evidence must be weighed holistically, including what was not done. And that is not what Gininda did there. Gininda failed dismally when it comes to that. Look at Kwabini's story, that the things that come out that he never told the court. And until the state case was closed, we never heard that Kwabini was arrested. So Gininda failed to preserve early statements properly, explain lost or delayed evidence, justify exclusion of alternative suspects, account for contradictions over time. He did none of those. Omissions, it can't be neutral. When you omit things, you are not being neutral. They are probative. And also, again, that's another legal blow. Failure to investigate objectively is equal to reasonable doubt by default. Already. Point number 5, arrest based on suspicion, not probable cause. Constitutional breach, that one. That is a constitutional breach. State versus Sikoko 2011. Also, it's a case in SCA. Arrest requires rational grounds, not suspicion dressed as belief. Problem, arrest followed narrative solidification. Evidence emerged after arrest. No fresh objective triggers. Arrest became self-justifying acts, and again, another legal blow. Unlawful arrest taints everything downstream. And that's exactly what happened to the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial that is on right now. Point number 6, derivative evidence must fall. Poison tree doctrine comes in light here. State versus Mthembu 2008, another SCA matter. Evidence obtained through constitutional violations must be excluded if it affects trial fairness, which is exactly the same thing here. Chain, unlawful arrest, coerced cooperation, aligned statements, stage corroboration. Isn't that exactly what happened in the Senzo Meyiwa case? A legal blow, once again. Once Gininda's process is unlawful, his outcomes are inadmissible. He can't come claim that he did well after everything that has been shown in that courtroom. Point number 7, command level bias. Rank does not equal reliability. Please, Ujudge Ratha needs to, he needs to stop telling us that Gininda is a high-ranking police. Haibo. State versus Van der Meiden, 1999. Courts must resist authority bias, which is something which Judge Ratha is failing. Reality, Gininda testified as investigator, interpreter, validator, final arbiter. That's what he did there. He did there. This is evidential monopolization. Legal blow. Again, I don't know for the 7th time. No witness may be judge of his own investigation. He can force Ugutisi accept and judge and be proud of himself that he did well. No. Point number 8, cumulative contradictions is equal to reasonable doubt. Death by 1,000 cuts, that's exactly what it is. State versus Oosthuizen, 1982. Multiple small inconsistencies may collectively destroy credibility. That's Gininda for you. Observed pattern, shifting timelines, re-explained omissions, convenient clarifications, memory aligned with prosecution's needs. Another legal blow, number 8. The court must reject the entirety, not salvage fragments. It can't do that. Everything here, it looks bad. It looks bad. That's another legal blow, number 8. So Brigadier Gininda was not a neutral witness. He was the architect of a contaminated case whose investigation violated objectivity, independency, constitutional safeguards, evidential integrity. And there are consequences when it comes to these things, legal consequences. His testimony is unsafe. His investigation is tainted. His arrests are unlawful. His derived evidence is inadmissible. So this was not an investigation that discovered the truth. It was a narrative that recruited witnesses. That is what happened when it comes to the entire situation. Brigadier Gininda cannot come and force the court to accept, and Judge Ratha cannot also force this to be proper, to be a proper case. It's not. It's absolutely not a proper case. Gininda failed. What he did there was failure. That is why this case, if Judge Ratha decides, no, I am so going to make sure Gininda gets his conviction, I believe that Judge Ratha needs to be impeached after that. Yes, he really needs to be impeached, because what is this, Nasan? What is this? There's no way. Absolutely no way, Sanalam. Absolutely no way. Because Gininda akakwazi nje ukufosta ukuthi le case ibe ilento yena afuna ibe ingaphopi indaba yayo. It's really sickening, to say the least. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk in the comment section. I want to hear your views. I want to hear your thoughts. Let's have a discussion. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.